Lumpinee Stadium, Bangkok, Thailand, February 1971. The air inside is almost unbreathable, humidity pressing down like wet concrete, cigarette smoke mixing with the sharp smell of liniment and tiger balm, rising in layers above 3,000 people, packed shoulder to shoulder into wooden bleachers that creak under the weight of the crowd. Overhead lights blaze down on the ring with the indifference of a sun that doesn't care who wins or loses. This is not just a stadium, this is a temple, Muay Thai's most sacred arena, and tonight, something is about to happen that nobody in this building is prepared for. Imagine a heat so thick you can taste the salt and nicotine on your tongue. In the VIP tiers, royalty watches from gilded silk, a world away from the frantic hand signals of the gamblers below, men who speak a silent, high-stakes language of shadow and currency. In the center of this storm stands Nongmai, known to the world as the Iron Rose. Her record is a terrifying monolith: 70 fights, 70 wins, 0 doubts. She didn't just climb the ranks, she paved them with the bones of those who underestimated a girl from the rural north. By 25, her shins were no longer anatomy, they were timber-splitting weapons forged against the bark of banana trees. But tonight, the atmosphere feels jagged. Tired of the whisper that her dominance only exists within the women's division, Nongmai has demanded a radical demonstration. She steps out of the ring, stalking through the crowd to find a volunteer. The audience shrinks back. Nobody wants to be the sacrificial lamb for the Iron Rose. She passes the drunks and the wide-eyed tourists until she reaches the 12th row. There, sitting with a stillness that borders on the unnatural, is a slender man in a dark button-down. He isn't hiding, he's observing. She points. "You, come down." The man who steps through the ropes looks like he's lost on his way to a library. At 140 pounds, he lacks the hulking muscularity the Lumpinee crowd associates with power. The stadium erupts in mocking laughter. Western journalists ready their pens for a farce. Then, the man takes the microphone and speaks with a calm that chills the room. His name? Bruce Lee. At this moment, the name means nothing to Bangkok. He mentions a system called Jeet Kune Do. The crowd chuckles. It sounds like a tourist's invention. The bell rings, and the demonstration begins. Nongmai strikes with the lethal efficiency of 70 victories. She throws a jab. Bruce's head moves an inch, and the air whistles past. She fires a low kick meant to end careers. Bruce simply isn't there. He isn't retreating. He's evaporating and reforming in the gaps of her offensive. When she tries a devastating knee, he doesn't block it with force, he redirects it with a touch so light it feels like a suggestion. Nongmai realizes with a jolt of pure adrenaline that she isn't fighting a man, she's fighting a ghost who is choosing where her strikes land. Desperation turns to a final explosive jumping knee, all her weight, all her pride. Bruce doesn't move away this time, he moves in. He catches the kinetic energy, traps her limb, and stops his lead fist exactly 1 inch from her throat. The stadium falls into a silence so profound you can hear the buzzing of the lights. The rose has been plucked, not by force, but by a superior understanding of the void. They bowed. It wasn't a defeat, it was a revelation. As Bruce walked into the humid night with his student Dan Inosanto, he didn't gloat, he simply noted that he accepted the challenge not to prove he was better, but to see what he didn't yet know. The San Francisco Shadow, the strike that silenced the greatest. March 18, 1973, San Francisco, California. 2 years after the humid nights of Bangkok, a different kind of legend was waiting in a private boxing gym. No tickets, no cameras, just 250 of the right people whispered into a room to witness a collision of worlds. In one corner stood Muhammad Ali, 6'3", 210 pounds of the most optimized fighting machinery the 20th century had ever seen. He was the man who had outstayed Foreman and outlasted Frazier. He was the greatest, and he was bored. The challenge had started as a joke in Malibu. Ali had heard the claims of the little dragon and laughed. "Let him hit me," Ali had said with that signature magnetic arrogance. "Let him hit me, I'll stand still, hands down. Let's see if this kung fu is real or just dancing." Bruce Lee had accepted on one condition, one strike, one moment to bridge the gap between two philosophies. When Bruce entered the ring in simple black gear, the physical disparity was almost comical. Ali looked like a titan, Bruce looked like a shadow. Ali started the theater immediately, joking about stepping on the little man by accident. Bruce didn't smile. He didn't stretch for the crowd. He entered a state of focus so dense it seemed to pull the oxygen out of the ring. Ali planted his feet, spread his arms wide, and tapped his solar plexus. "Right here, kid. Give me your best." Bruce approached, stopping exactly 3 feet away. He wasn't looking at Ali's face, he was calculating the exact cluster of nerves behind the ribs. Then it happened. There was no wind-up, no telegraph, no big punch logic. It was a crack, like a whip snapping in a cavern. Bruce's fist traveled through space in a time frame that defied the human eye ability to process. It wasn't a thud, it was an explosion of kinetic energy. Ali, the man who had absorbed the heavy artillery of the world's most dangerous punchers, collapsed. His knees didn't just buckle, they failed. His diaphragm spasmed, his lungs locked, and the greatest boxer on earth found himself on the canvas, kneeling in a desperate search for air. The room was paralyzed. Ali wasn't knocked out, he was shut down. Bruce had bypassed the muscles and targeted the vulnerability. When Ali finally regained his breath, he looked at Bruce with eyes that had seen the truth. "What did you do?" he whispered. Bruce's answer was the core of his life's work. "I didn't target your strength. Strength is irrelevant if I find your weakness." They shook hands, a secret pact between two masters. The world would never officially see the footage, the newspapers would call it a myth, but those 250 people walked into the San Francisco night knowing that the 1-inch punch wasn't a trick, it was the sound of a man who had mastered the art of being human.